Would you ever take the chance of living in the Wild West of America in the 1800s? Deserts, train heists, saloons, and Mexican standoffs. As adventurous as it sounds, the west of the US in the 1800s was a gruesome battle land filled with violence and killing. One place in particular, in Cimarron, New Mexico, was marked forever by what passed through its walls. A total of 26 murders took place in a hotel which was originally built by Abraham Lincoln's personal chef. Billy the Kid, Buffalo Bill, Blackjack Ketchum, and Jesse James. Do you recognize any of these iconic names? These are just a handful of the Western legends that stayed at the St. James Hotel and left their mark with many bullet holes in the ceilings and walls, leading to this place being one of the most historic and haunted hotels in the USA. What happened in this building? Is it true that there's a room locked at all times because of its brutal history? Can you even stay there now? Stick around till the end of the video to find out more about this hellish place, the history of the St. James Hotel.
Before the break, our Gotti Schwartz headed to the St. James Hotel in Cimarron. Now, according to the legend, it is the most haunted hotel in New Mexico.
It appears Lambert had himself another man for breakfast. This line became synonymous with the St. James Hotel because killing, murdering, and gunfighting was so frequent in this hell hotel. The origin story of this place is fascinating. The hotel was originally named the Lambert Inn and was built in 1872 by a Frenchman, Henry Lambert. Lambert was no ordinary guy. Prior to building this hotel, he was serving as President Abraham Lincoln's personal chef upon recommendation of Ulysses Grant, until the president was murdered in cold blood. If I was the president's personal chef and he was assassinated, I'd also go on the lam. Lambert had moved across the country with his wife in search of new opportunities in the form of land and gold, as was tradition in those days for those who had the basic human right of freedom. And so, in 1870, Lambert and his wife traveled west. Originally, they settled in Elizabethtown, which was part of a greater area in New Mexico owned by the Maxwell Land Grant, which was the largest land grant ever made in the history of the USA. This grant was sold around the same time Lambert and his wife were traveling west, and the new land grant owners had heard the assassinated Lincoln's private chef was in the area. They enticed him to move to Cimarron, and so Lambert did, and instead of finding gold, built the Lambert Inn, a saloon and hotel which would generate a history of bloodbaths and standoffs between some of the most violent men of the West. According to the website legendsofamerica.com, the hotel was built during a time when law and order were non-existent. The saloon quickly gained a reputation as a place of violence, where it is said that 26 men were shot and killed within its walls. The first question usually asked around Cimarron in the morning was, "Who was killed at Lambert's last night?" Another favorite expression following a killing was, "It appears Lambert had himself another man for breakfast." The saloon had become increasingly more popular, and word got around it was the place to be for action and a good time. It attracted different individuals, such as cowboys, travelers, prospectors, traders, and miners. It was located close to the Santa Fe rail line, so many people would pass through town on their journey. Many legends of the Western era passed through this historic place, such as Wyatt Earp and his brother Morgan. Doc Holliday and Billy the Kid stayed in the hotel. Jesse James often stayed there and was always in the same room, room 14. He always signed his name in and out under his pseudonym R.H. Howard. And not only that, his would-be killer also frequented the hotel, Bob Ford. Buffalo Bill Cody was a local goat rancher who met his would-be wife at the hotel, and they started to plan and prepare their Wild West show that would tour. Buffalo Bill actually became good friends with Henry Lambert, and even gave Henry's son Fred his nickname when he was born, Cyclone Dick, because he was born during a storm. Not only that, Buffalo Bill was asked by Henry to be Fred's godfather, the result of which Buffalo Bill would teach Fred how to use guns. With this knowledge, Fred grew up to become the town sheriff and dedicated his life to upholding the law in Cimarron. So, would you stay in a hotel that had a room said to be occupied by a malevolent spirit and is completely locked at all times because of the gruesome murder history it has? Sounds totally relaxing and comfortable, doesn't it? The second floor of the hotel has the most alleged paranormal activity. Room 18 at the St. James Hotel is completely locked at all times, out of respect for the man who died with a bullet in his back in this room. Thomas James Wright had won the ownership rights to the hotel in a poker game down in the saloon. This didn't please his opponent. At the table, Wright was shot in the back, and from there he proceeded to make his way up the stairs and to his room, room 18. In here, he bled to death in anguish, dying with a hatred that would trap his spirit. Staff at the hotel have reported various paranormal activity in the room, such as being physically moved and seeing an aggressive orange-covered ball floating in the room. The room is completely off limits, as legend has it that several mysterious deaths occurred in this room while it was still being rented. Mary Lambert's spirit, Henry Lambert's wife, is said to occupy room 17 to this day. Countless claims by hotel staff have concurred that an oddly rich rose petal scent often surfaces in the room. This was the fragrance Mary Lambert would always wear and is ominously stuck in the room. 100 years since her death in 1926. Legend has it that her spirit has remained in the building in order to protect it. Another spirit resides in the hotel referred to as the Little Imp. This energetic being has been described as a dwarf-like little man who is apparently a trickster and very mischievous. Items that go out of place or break without clear explanation are attributed to being the work of the Little Imp. On the second floor, there is a poker room with a period-style poker table. There are 5 seats for a game of Texas Hold'em. Stories circulate that every now and then you can hear the clatter and chatter of a poker game in the room, but will never find anyone playing a game. There have been reports of inexplicable events such as screams being heard out of nowhere and objects moving around or breaking without anyone around. Well, what about the hotel? The original design of the hotel itself has 13 rooms, each named after famous and infamous people who passed through the building. An additional 10 rooms were built adjacent to the building in a more modern style to accommodate guests who were not as interested to stay in a haunted building that has hosted a plethora of killings. Makes sense, I'd say. The saloon features its original wooden structure and still hosts dining every day for its guests. It boasts 22 gunshot holes in the ceiling as part of its charm. In the hallways, you'll find antique objects and pieces that really put you in the feeling of the Wild West. One of the prized pieces decorating the hallways is a plaque attributed to Clay Allison, a hitman of the Wild West who killed 19 men who are listed on the plaque. And that's the Haunted Hotel of New Mexico. St. James Hotel has seen some of the most gruesome, cold-blooded killings during the lawless days of the Wild West. With a reputation that has marked it a jewel in the historic era of the Wild West in America, this hotel offers more than just a trip back in time, but eerie urban legends of a brutal past.